Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Irish Zone. I am Noel. I hope you're all doing well. Anyway, as you can tell by the stream headline, a man in his 40s has been arrested because overnight he rammed the gates of the Aris where the president lives. I think it was the customs gates as well were hit. And the gates where the Taoiseach's office, Dáil Éireann, was also hit. Now the van was left at the scene of the crime. Now, I've seen people say that this was staged and it's a setup and all of this other nonsense. And it is nonsense, by the way. And the reason why I say that is why would the state now just hear me out on this one, right? Why would the state get someone to ram the gates when they're all on their holidays, right? Yeah, they're doing interviews on TV, but they're on their holidays. Remember that, right? The Dáil is closed, like. So if they wanted to have a bigger impact, wouldn't it be logical to actually do it when they're all back in the Dáil and have someone ram the gates when they're in the Dáil? And then they could bring in all of these no protest zones that they were talking about. So this isn't a setup. This is obviously someone that either has mental health problems or someone that's sick of the government. It could be anybody, right? There's a lot of anger out there. We've seen that, right? There's a lot of anger and people have reached their tipping point. I was listening to the Niall Boylan show last night. It's the first time that I've listened to his radio show. I don't listen to Niall Boylan most of the time. I think Niall's a great interviewer. The problem is he never gives his guests a chance to actually answer the question because he's always butting in. But he had a homeless man on last night. And it was the most heartbreaking thing that I heard. Now, this fella was living in some sort of accommodation. I don't know if it was social or whatever it was. But he was informed by the people who were running the place that he had to leave the premises. He had to leave the place where he was living. So he packed up all of his stuff, put it in the back of his brother's car, and ended up homeless. Now, as he was still getting mail, he sent to the address. He decided to go to the address 2 weeks after he was kicked out. And when he goes, he is surprised to see that a Somalian woman and her baby are now living in the place that he called home. He was evicted, folks, from his home to make way for a non-national. That man was crying on that radio show last night a few times. You could hear it. He was absolutely gone. He was contemplating not being here anymore. Now, why do I bring it up in relation to what happened last night? Well, there are a lot of men like that poor fella that was on the Niall Boylan show. Some that have reached their tipping point in their lives. They've lost everything. They've lost a job or whatever it is. Right? Because what's important, this man, by the way, worked since he was 15 years of age, he said. Or was it 14, 15. He's working since he's a teenager. He's paid taxes all his life. Right? And he was told to get out of his home to make way for someone else. So don't be quick to jump to conclusion that what happened at the Dáil, what happened at the Phoenix Park, and what happened at the Customs, wherever else they hit, was a setup. Because it makes no sense to me anyway. You would do something like that if the TDs are in government buildings because it'd have more of an impact. To do it in the middle of the night makes no sense to me, right? So this is someone I believe, and this is just my opinion, is someone that has just completely lost it. Probably has mental health issues, probably suffering from low self-esteem. Because remember, this government has been bashing us and bashing us and bashing us. And there's only so many people can take. And if you haven't heard that interview, and by the way, I'll just say this out straight now for everybody that's in the chat. You do have permission to share that 20-minute clip and put it on our channels. No problem at all, because I got it off a radio show. So in reality, you know, just because I put it up on my channel doesn't mean it's mine. I've tagged Niall Boyle and stuff in it anyway. But if you want to share that video, please do. But tag all the Niall Boylan's social medias and stuff. Cover yous ourselves now, right? Because there's people trying to take down other people's channels, right? As I told you, I got those copyright strikes off your man, right? So just be careful. That's why if you are sharing that video, just copy the links that I even have in the link description if you want to make it easier for you ourselves, so you don't have to go hunting for all the Niall Boyle and stuff, and then whack it in, and you can whack it up on our channel. People have to hear that man's story. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. But there's a lot of men, a lot of women out there like him, right? So I wouldn't be quick to jump to this is a staged event outside the doll. I don't think it is. I honestly don't. Because even though the stuff happened in Southport, it's affected people over here in Ireland as well. Right? We've seen that people are frightened for their kids. And we had our own incident in Dublin. Remember that? So that brought back that's what that Southport thing has actually done. I've noticed with Irish people. That's what it's done. It's reopened that wound and that trauma of what happened in Dublin that day. Right? There's a lot of frightened people out there. There are a lot of angry people out there, and unfortunately, this government has broken a lot of people. Now, this fella, before he left, said he was in his brother, living in the back of his brother's car, and he couldn't even turn on the heat because he hadn't got the keys, because he couldn't have the keys in the car because he was afraid that he'd get arrested or something. So he no keys, so he's sleeping in the back of a car. Now he's now okay. Summer, if you want to call this a summer, let's be honest. It's lucky that it hasn't been really that cold, but some nights have been. Right now, that man's been living in his car. I think it was what did he say? 2-4 weeks, something like that. Right, the autumn be coming soon, winter. You know, that man could be living in his car. And there's lots of other families out there. We've seen it. Stories. We see mothers in the car with their kids. So that interview last night actually kind of broke me a little bit, because nobody should be thrown out of their home. And that's, by the way, that's been happening in the UK. And they're actually trying to bring in legislation over there. You know, basically what happens is, you know, the way you have a lot of these old age pensioners in homes that they've had for years, generations of families. But they're trying to take those homes and all of this. And they're going to do the same here. And they are doing the same here. That man's story is proof that they're doing it. And it brings up another very interesting question, which was brought up on the Niall Boylan show, but unfortunately with Niall. He doesn't give everybody a chance to actually, get their words out of their mouth. So I'll ask you guys in the chat and let me know in the chat. Do you think it's a fundamental right, human right, to be housed? Because the High Court made a ruling in relation to the migrants, saying that the way the government have basically handled the whole situation is a human rights violation. Now, unfortunately, what that High Court ruling has done, and someone brought it up, I think it was Niall Boylan himself, and it was a very valid point though. Now that's opened up the government to be sued in the next few years, because all of these migrants that have come over and ended up in a tent, well, the High Court has ruled that they have a fundamental right to accommodation, and they have failed in that regard. Also, though, very interestingly brought up as well, though, it's a bit of a sticky situation as well, because Irish people now can probably use that High Court ruling. This government is going to be sued left, right and centre in the next 10, 15 fucking years, man. Right? Now, Roderick O'Gorman and co have come out and said that Coolock is still going ahead, and the other places that they had earmarked are still going ahead. Now, there's a few dots to be connected here already, and I don't know if people are popping on to this, but Helen McEntee was recently in Coolock with Drew Harris, right? Now, they weren't there for nothing. They're obviously planning something, and that's why she was there, because she never went to meet the locals. So, just to the people at Coolock, just stay very vigilant, because I've said it. They're going to use you guys as the example, because you guys obviously, are getting all the attention now because you have stood up so bravely against a corrupt government and their bullies, right? But she was there only recently, right? And then O'Gorman comes out 2 days later. Listen, start connecting these dots, folks. Right? Then O'Gorman comes out and says that Coolock is still going ahead. Right? Then you have all the politicians on the TV and the radio telling you that no community has a veto. Right? Something big is going to go down in Coolock in the next couple of weeks. That is my prediction. If you connect the dots, right, it's clear to see that she's up to something and Drew Harris is up to something. Right? Now they've got the cameras. They've got their cameras now. They were talking about their cameras. And they're talking about strategies. Drew Harris has been coming out, right, with his rubbish as well, saying that the public order unit are a bit under equipped and all of this other nonsense. That's to force the government to give them more power. And this is just going to get worse. If people think the Coolock scenes and the Newtown Mount Kennedy scenes and the Ballyowen scenes that we've seen repeated over and over again, listen, that's just the start. Look at them. Look at it now over in the UK. The Prime Minister is going to give the police special powers now, right? Which means the public, and you've seen it already, they're just pulling random people out of the crowd, just arresting them. Right, and we've seen it happen over here. This gets worse. Now, there's that big... Ted, what's wrong with you? What you do? Ted, what are you limping for? What you do? Come here. What the fuck? Come here, buddy. Hold on, guys. Me dog is fucking limping here. You just fucking... What the hell? You alright, buddy? Come on, sit in your bed. Sit in your bed. Sit in your bed. Come on. Oh, that dog. Ugh. Sorry about that. See, he lies down right on the ground and stuff, and then he falls asleep. But it's the way he wakes up, whatever which way he wakes up, he just fucking. Now he's had problems with his back before because we nearly lost him 2 years ago. He nearly died on us 2 years ago. He had a very bad back injury, and he was temporarily paralyzed. And the vets that we went to didn't really give him much hope, but they said that 72 hours after would be the most crucial. And luckily there was movement in his legs, and then slowly but surely it took us 6 weeks, 7 weeks in total to get him back. So anytime he goes and does something like this, I fucking go into panic mode. I do. He's getting old, but anybody that owns a dog, he's my family. Like, he's part of me. He's my baby, and I don't care what people can laugh at me, but that's the way I see him. He's family. So fucking upsets me, man. Anyway, he's all right there. Anyway, as I was about to say, there is a protest outside the Garda HQ. I would advise everybody now that this is the moment now to show up. There's no fucking about here now. This is the one. This is the one that you show up at. Sorry, he's just had to put me right off. Are you okay, buddy? Seriously, man. Oh, man. He's grand. He's fine. He just does this sometimes. But see, I'm not very good at handling all of this because I just can't even think about when he's not here. Do you know what I mean? So I've had him since I moved in here. So, I was here, I say maybe a year, maybe less. And then I got him. And I've had him ever since. So he's been here with me. So I've not, do you know what I mean? He's been here the whole time I've been here. So it'll be weird when he's not. And I don't even want to think about that shit. So yeah, that would be Garda HQ. But here, I'll give you a laugh. It's not really a laugh, right? So Grit Media did a whole thing about the left across the sphere, and they've been linked to terrorism and terrorist activity, right? Now I'll give you a laugh. Guess what's happening at O'Connell Bridge? Today, I think it's lunchtime. Is it? I'm not sure. I think it's lunchtime. Well, as you all know, one of the Hamas leaders was deleted, and those sad little motherfuckers are holding a vigil for him on top on O'Connell Bridge. And then they go around and call us, the N word, or the bad Germans of the 1930s, and they level all of these accusations at us, and there they are today. They'll be outside, they'll be on the O'Connell Bridge. Hold on, I posted it up last night. Let me see, what time is it exactly? So if anybody is actually at O'Connell Bridge, it's 6 o'clock tonight. So if anybody is at O'Connell Bridge at 6 o'clock, so I'll read it out for you. I have the post here. So this is what they wrote. Support the resistance in response to the Zionist campaign of the assassination against resistant leaders. We're holding a vigil for the martyred leaders of the resistance. Friday, the 2nd of August, 6 p.m., O'Connell Bridge. So they'll be there holding a vigil for a bunch of terrorists. And yeah, the public order unit will beat up innocent women and children and granddads, pepper spray them and throw lads down onto the ground. But yeah, we've got commies in this country that are openly supporting terrorists, and we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys. They're on O'Connell Bridge at 6 p.m. Right now, also because they're just sick little individuals. As you know, Dundalk says no is having their third pointless protest, in my opinion. But the other side, Antifa, they're doing their counter protest on the same day in the area. So, you know, everything that they do is to get a reaction, and yet the public order unit will turn on you guys rather than actually throw all of these little scumbags who need a shower and a bang of a bar of soap into prison. Right? So they're going to be on O'Connell Bridge, 6 o'clock, waving their fucking flags. Right? And singing their stupid chants. Oh, Audrey, the reason why, listen, I get you, make it make sense. See, to them, in their little world, they think the majority of the country actually support them. See, that's the thing about the Irish left and the left in general. They actually think they have the majority of the support. They don't. The only reason why they have so much power is because they've been able to get into all the institutions, right? But slowly but surely we're getting there and we're getting them out. But it's going to take, you don't know what I mean? This is the issue that we have with the left. But they actually honestly believe that they have the majority of support of everybody in the country, which they don't. Even the Red Sea polls that came out recently have shown 72% of people on this island think there's too many people in this country. So they don't have the support, but they have a lot of money and they get a lot of funding. And the nationalist side, you heard it from certain nationalists, you know, they don't have the funding. They don't have the money to make the impact that the left can make. Now in America, you know, that movement is MAGA, if that's what you want to call it, but that's funded. People actually go and fund that. It's not happening here in Ireland. We need some sort of movement here like that, proper movement, not just showing up in a town here and there or holding a protest in the same place week after week or month after month. That's not going to, you have to get around the whole country. And that's what the people in America do. They get around the whole country. That's what I've been trying to say. That's what the nationalist movement needs to be doing. They need to be getting around the whole country, getting into communities. We've even had a few nationalists that have agreed with me, but yet nothing is being done. And again, can I just bring up as well, it's been how long since they all announced that alliance? Hold on, let me see. I'll go back onto my YouTube channel and that'll tell me, because I do remember I posted a video on it. So when was the... So the reason why I bring it up is because when the statement was made, we were told that in the next 4 weeks, we would get more information. We've received none, as far as I'm aware. What's the plan moving forward? I mean, is it going to be still national protests, or is there any other sort of, is it going to be a wider scale? Are we bringing the country to a standstill? What are we doing? What are we doing? And that's why, you know, this is what I'm saying. What's the plan, man? Oh, also as well here, just so you can all have a laugh. So Natasha O'Brien, your woman who's been, lifted up by the media in this country because of the domestic. Well, they call it domestic, but it wasn't a domestic, was it? It was out in public. But anyway, she's wrote. Well, she didn't write a song, but a fella has wrote a song for her, and she's playing the tin whistle. And it's the most cringiest thing I've ever heard. So if you want to laugh, just type in Natasha O'Brien song, and it should come up. It's very well. If you just want to laugh, go ahead. But this is what's wrong with this world. We're elevating idiots. There's more to that Natasha O'Brien story, and we all know it, right? There's more to that story, and it stinks to high hell. But you know what? The left will use anybody. The left will use anybody to further their own agenda, just like Sinn Féin, right? They will use anything to get into power. They've done it up north, and they're trying to do it down here, right? But they'll fail down here because I think people have finally copped on about Sinn Féin. But going back to all of this iPass business, it is clear that the government's not going to stop. Roderick O'Gorman has said Kulak is getting planted, right? You have Hazel Chu and others on radio and TV telling you that communities don't have a veto, right? You don't have a say, right? Now, I want to address Hazel Chu and everybody else that has come out with that statement. You're so wrong, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. You go to the people and ask them to vote you in. The people did not vote for this. You are not mandated by the people to overrun their communities with migrants, right? You weren't given permission to do so. So when you politicians actually say that communities don't have a veto, you're absolutely wrong, right? We do have a veto. Absolutely we do. You work for us. You work for us. Therefore, if the people say, hey, we don't want them here, you fucking listen. You listen. So as far as I'm concerned, you have overstepped your brief. You no longer represent the people of Ireland because you're not listening to the people of Ireland. And to continue and say it's a small minority when all the Red Sea polls and everything else is proven that we're not a minority, you better wise up fast, is what I'll tell you. Because I have seen, even in my own chat, I've seen in spaces, I've seen everywhere else, that the anger of the Irish people, as the days go on, is getting more volatile. And at a certain point, you're going to reach a tipping point. You're going to reach that tipping point. But I believe this is all deliberate anyway. You want the people to reach the tipping point. And that makes it even worse. But when you all say that communities do not have a veto, what you're basically telling the Irish people is, well, shut your mouth, mind your own business, we know what's best for you. And I'm sorry, we're telling you, you don't know what's best for us. You hadn't mandated. And to say that no community has a veto, as far as I'm concerned, you've lost the mandate of the people. But you lost the mandate of the people for a very long time anyway. Now, I don't know how we get Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael out, but we have to do something this general election, right? It's to make it so hard for them to even form a government, right? We've got to do something, right? Because the only other option is what everybody else has been talking about, and is getting out on those streets. But again, we're not prepared for that. But it's going to go there, and nobody will be able to stop it once it starts. It's absolutely disgusting. But here, someone said something a few weeks back on one of the spaces, and you're absolutely right. Do you know RTE and Virgin Media? Well, Virgin Media don't have live studio audiences most of the time, but RTE do for all of these political shows. People like us need to be applying for these fucking shows. And when these politicians are talking, right? Someone said when all these politicians are talking that crap, talking about no vetoes and all of this, someone in the audience just jump up and do what? Do you remember that man that gave out the fucking Pat Kenny? And it was all over the fucking news and all. It was huge. That's what nationalists need to be doing. They need to be somehow trying to get into these fucking shows, and then when all these politicians are talking crap, get up and start making a fucking fuss. Right? Make the program go off air. Right? Do whatever. Right? Just scream, shout. Don't do anything violent, nothing. Just when they're talking their crap, just say you're talking out of your arse, you are. How dare you say that people don't have a veto in their own community? Who do you think yous are? Right? Yous are voted in by the people to represent the people of Ireland. And you're not representing the people of Ireland. So don't be sitting there telling people that they don't have a veto in their own communities. We absolutely do have a veto in our own communities. And you better start listening to the people. That's what needs to happen. Look, most of the market, these shows are controlled, you're right. And they do kind of try and not maybe vet who they bring in, right? But one or two have got through the cracks before, right? So I wouldn't rule it out as a tactic to use anyway, right? It's worth a try. It's another tactic that we could use, right? If the media is not going to listen, we get in there in the studio and we start fucking, when we get into the odd, just start fucking having their say. Right, we're not being represented by the media in any fucking debate, right? In any debate, right? Virgin Media will bring on Ben Scanlon the odd time, or maybe John from Grip Media, but in fairness, they don't actually represent us, right? Yes, they do say that they do tell people about the concerns in the communities and all of that, but we've seen their opinions. They're just media. Right? So you can't trust them. We need people to represent us that are on the ground, in there, in the studios, countering all of this bullshit. That's the thing, man. We've got to start making more noise, man. We're not making enough noise anyway. We never have been. Right? We've had one or two protests that have been absolutely spectacular and huge, brilliant, but we never fucking capitalized on that momentum, right? We never capitalized on that momentum. Everything's fizzled out here now, right? It's gone quiet again since Dundalk. I don't mean as in, but the nationalist movement's gone quiet. What's the fucking plan, like? Like, are you seriously telling people that until the general election, all we're going to do is protest? I mean, that's a hard sell. That's a hard sell, even for me. They're doing it. They're going to do an thing. They're calling for to shut the whole country down. We should have done that a long time ago. I've been saying it I'm blue in the fucking face saying it. We need to stretch the resources in this fucking country across the whole fucking country. The north and the fucking south, right? Pick a fucking date and rise fucking together. And close the fucking country down. And people say that, well, I know, it's a waste of time because they have money. We won't hurt them financially. We will hurt them. We will hurt them. We won't. We do. Listen, we'll do damage, and there will be long-term damage, right? You don't just recover further. Look at what happened during the whole place closed down, right? They can't afford to do it again. No, they're talking about another pandemic and all of that, right? But they won't close us down, no matter what they say, right? They can't afford to, right? They really can't afford to. They're moving ahead with these plans, right? They want these, but there's no way they're going to stop in the middle of that and call a pandemic when they're trying to fucking take over the whole of Europe with all of this bullshit. No way, no chance. It's not happening. That's just another fucking distraction tactic that they're using. Get everybody talking about another pandemic again and distract from while we keep doing what we're doing. Just like this thing here, right, with the van, right? You have nationalists coming out thinking it's a stage, then it's set up and all this. Well, you just leave it out, man. They're not doing that if the doll's not full, right? I don't care what anybody says, right? It makes no sense to do when they're on the fucking holidays, right? You do that when they're in the fucking building, right? That's how you make more of a fucking impact, right? So if that was staged, that's what they do, right? They're not that fucking stupid. Remember, they've set this fucking movement up a few fucking times and we walked into it, right? So they've done this before, right? So if they were gonna set us up, trust me, they wouldn't get someone to do it in the middle of the fucking night, right? They do it when the doll is fucking full, right? Make more of an impact, get the public outraged about it, and then the public will agree with them to bring in no protest zones and all of this, right? But I'll go back to me question because I don't know, because sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there. But I'll ask is housing a fundamental human right? Do you have the right to a roof over your head? Yes or no? Some people out there will say, I think Noel was saying as well, yeah, maybe get a house as a start. Some people will probably never be able to afford a house, but he thinks that, people should work and stuff like that. That was his opinion. You know what I mean? So what do you think? Do you think that that housing is a fundamental human right? And obviously, when I'm talking about for Irish people, yes, as someone Irish they said it there, took the words right out of my mouth. Should it be a fundamental right for Irish people, or should the Irish people earn the right to a home? That's the way he put it. I've always said that I think that housing is a fundamental human right for Irish people. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Listen, you give someone a home, right? They mightn't stay in that council home. They could end up getting a job, right? A job that pays well, okay? And end up either buying that home that they're renting or buying another home, right? But I do think that everybody in this country, this is why our youth live. This is why our youth live, right? And go and work abroad. Because when they go through all their education, right? Okay? And they're trying to look for a job, and trying to get a job in Ireland is very hard, right? But in the meantime, imagine if they had a place where they're paying little rent, right? Just for the time to help them out, right? But they got a roof over their fucking heads until they can get a job, right? They won't want to leave. Do you know what I mean? They'll eventually get a job. You get rid of all of this bullshit, close the borders. work will start freeing up for Irish people. But you should always, I do agree. Listen, I was in the homeless system myself, so I know the impact that has on someone's mental health and health. And I was in the system for 4 years. It's horrible, right? It was absolute nightmare. And all I wanted, I didn't care what I got. That was my attitude. I just wanted something with a bedroom, a kitchen and a bathroom. Right? That's all I wanted. Right? And I had to fight for everything to get where I am today. But tell you, the amount of hoops, or anybody that's been through that, right, will agree with me. They degrade you. They make you feel like you're a piece of fucking shit, right? Then they get you to fill in all of these forms, bring you in for multiple interviews, right? Ask you the same questions about 50 fucking times, right? It's like your whole life, right, is fucking laid out bare in front of them before they'll even consider you. And then here was the thing with me. Before I got this place, they offered me another place in the city centre. Won't say where it was, but a lovely block of flats, right? And I was told to go there for an interview. And I met the Dublin City Council fella. He had the key. And then there was this old lady with him, and I was wondering who the fuck she was. And she kept asking me all sorts of questions. But I didn't say anything because I didn't want to come across as a bit of an asshole. So I got showed around this flat. It was lovely. I loved the location. I thought, you know what, I could see myself here. So your man says to me, he says, yeah, that's great. He says, do you like it? I says, yeah, I will. I says, I do. I really do. He says, right, we'll fill in the paperwork and we'll get back to you, let you know. Get a phone call the next day. I'm told, sorry, we're not giving you the flat. And I asked why, and it says, well, do you know the lady that was with us? Well, she's with the community part of the flats, and she didn't want she wanted a couple in there. They don't want a bloke living on his own in there. And I was like, how is that fair? But then I kind of was saying to myself, well, I kind of understand it, because if there's loads of families in the place and then a single man is moving in there, of course people would be suspicious. It's just like the situation now. But a few weeks later, I get another offer, and it was this place, and it was actually guaranteed before I even had saw the place. I literally just went to meet them to get the keys, and I got them, and I haven't looked back since. But the amount of hoops that I had to jump through, and then it got to the stage where my health was being really affected. That, like, even the doctors were like, you have to help this man out. The amount of letters, the amount of character references I had to get, right? My whole life was fucking interrogated. I felt degraded. I'm not going to lie. But that's what's happening with Irish people even to this day. That's why Irish people don't like ringing these numbers and all these numbers to try get it, because you're treated like shite. Even the people on the phone are fucking rude to you. It's like, how fucking dare you ring us and look for somewhere to live, you scumbag, is basically the attitude I get from them. But this has been going on for decades in this country, right? And they never got a grip on it, right? And again, part of this Dundalk counter protest from the left, they're saying, you know, it's government policy that's at fault, and government's letting the people down. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But your logic as the left is, well, even though our systems are stretched, we have no houses, hospital lists, waiting lists have gone through the roof, schools have doubled or tripled in size. But your logic as the left is to keep bringing these people in, even though you guys know quite well that the government can't even look after their own people or the people that they've allowed to come into this country. So you're treated like a fucking piece of shit in your own country. And my uncle had to get so much information to just sign on while he was out of work. His first time out of work in 20 years. Exactly. Everything that you do, paperwork, interrogation, make you feel like shit. But that's what they do, folks. That's what they do. It's degrading, it is. I have to say, it was probably the worst experience of my life. Very low point. And I was feeling like shit anyway. But I didn't need these people to make me feel like shit. These people's job is to make you feel like you have hope for the future. But they don't. They don't give you hope for the future. Right? They make you feel like a worthless piece of shit. How dare you come into this office and look for a roof over your head? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, I would say, you know, as I said to you, Helen McAtee was recently in Coolock. I'd keep an eye on that, and I'd say to the people at Coolock, stay vigilant. But I have seen there's a bit of argy-bargy going on with the Coolock Says No crew. And all I'll just say to the lads is just stay strong. You know, the bottom line is that people are going to come at you, even some that you thought were allies are going to come at you, because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, what's happened is, and what I've been told has happened is that a lot of the grassroots movement have decided to take things into their own hands now and not wait for someone else to call something. So the grassroots movement actually called the protest at the Garda headquarters. Fergus actually confirmed that to me. So it's nothing to do with the usual people that call the protest. This is a separate thing. So that's why I'm asking you to go and be there. I will be there. I'll be there with the rest of the usual suspects, Ferguson and co. But I don't know if the other usual suspects that usually turn up for their 15 minutes on media duty will turn up, because, as I said, this wasn't set up by them. So if you can get there, please do. We've got to make a stand. We're not there to do nothing. We're just there to stand outside and let these people know that have been brutalising grannies and granddads and pepper spraying kids and all, that we're not going to tolerate that behaviour anymore. Yous are supposed to protect us against this tyranny, right? And what's actually shocking is that yous have went along with this and yous haven't bat an eyelid. And I'm absolutely disgusted. Listen, I never really had an issue with Gardaí or anything like that, right? But I have to say, there'd be some years that I'd have respect for them, and there'd be years that I never had respect for them. But I have noticed since the 80s, I'll say in the 80s I had far more respect for Gardaí than I did in the 90s and so on. Right? After that, after the 80s, I lost all. There was few things that the Gardaí did over the years that I just, no. Look, they've also lost the mandate to the people, right? You can't go around brutalising people because they're concerned who's coming into their communities. So we have to make a stand, right? And we're not going there to cause any trouble. Want to make that clear, because I do reckon that the public order unit, because we're out there, they will do something. But we all know that going in, right? The bottom line is, listen, if you're going to this thinking that the public order unit are not going to do anything, well then, you're naive. They're going to try something. We're in the Phoenix Park. They can block off. Here, actually, it's just at the popping into me head, because as I said, it's all about connecting the dots. So the 5th of August, isn't it? The 5th of August, I think Lady of Era put it up again there, right? But listen, the gates of the Dáil, the Phoenix Park, and the customs was hit by a van. Yeah. Now, the only way this is a setup, right, is if I was to go with the setup narrative, right, we're going to be in the Phoenix Park on the 5th of August, and the gates of the Phoenix Park are just being rammed where the president is. I still don't think it's a setup, though. I mean, the stage, the whole thing with the Dáil. But that is interesting there. If I was to connect those dots, then we're going into the Phoenix Park on the 5th. But listen, the Phoenix Park is a perfect place for them, right? They can, as soon as we get into the Phoenix Park, they could block block us all in, box us all in, right? And then, we could see people running across fields and everything being chased. It'll probably be fucking, seriously, media will be there as well to capture it all. But it'll be a shit show if it does go down. But we've got to be there. These people cannot go on the way they're going on. These people need to understand that your families are also at risk because of the government policy. You've seen what's happened in the UK. We've seen in Leeds the police officers getting their heads absolutely kicked in by people that are not originally from this country. Right? They're putting you in direct danger as much as they're putting us and your families. So I can't understand why yous would go out there and lay a finger on us and harm us when the establishment is harming us all. So yeah, everybody needs to be there. This is the one that you need to be actually at. This is the protest that you need to be at, right? As I said, when the protest means something and it's a valid fucking protest, then we should do it. And this is one that we should definitely do and everybody should be at. And I mean everybody. And there's been plenty of notice for this one as well, by the way. So anybody comes out with the excuse, well, I wasn't given any notice. Everybody was given notice. This was put up nearly, how long ago was this put up? A few weeks back. Everybody's had a lot of time, right, as far as I'm concerned, right? So I'm looking, personally speaking, right, for this to be a success to me, to show a strength of force, right? What was the biggest Dublin protest we had? 10,000 people show up, was it? About that? Yeah, we need those 10,000 people in the Phoenix fucking Park. And more. This is the time to send a message. Anyway, we're coming up to the hour mark. As you know, it's Friday, isn't it? It is Friday, isn't it? I think it is. Yes, it is Friday. I will be back later on tonight on the other channel for Get It Off Your Chest. So if you want to take part, you know what the score is. The link will be in the link description. And if you just want to talk about, obviously, any of the topics I've spoke about, that's absolutely fine, and get something off your chest. Or if there's another topic that you would like to get off your chest, you're more than welcome to join in. Now, I will put that link to the stream up in the next few minutes, and then I'll put the link to StreamYard, and I'll pin it to the top of the chat, and I'll see you all there for Get It Off Your Chest. And thank you to me mods for keeping everybody safe in the chat. Really appreciate it. And as I said, you know, everybody try get there now at the Phoenix Park for that one, the Garda headquarters. And also, as I said, just to remind you, the lefties are going to be mourning their leader. Their real, true leader was deleted from this earth, and they're going to be on O'Connell Bridge crying for him later on. So that'll be a bit of fun, something. So if there's any, I mean, I'm pretty sure there'll be some people there just taking the piss out of them. But, you know, I would just say at this stage, see when it comes to things like that, just let them. They're on O'Connell Bridge, right? If people driving across that bridge on all the buses and the cars and all of that can't see what the left are after seeing that today, later on tonight, well then, you know, we've no hope. So, you know, they're going to expose themselves now big time. If they haven't already, this is going to, because people will question this, right? It's all well and good them going out and saying that they support the people of Gaza. But this is a vigil for a terrorist, right? A terrorist that was taken out, right? So this is different. They're exposing themselves in front of the whole nation tonight, right? And as I said, the media is already reporting on the connections of terrorism with the left across Europe. So you'd be naive to think that it's not happening here to the Irish left. Of course it is, right? We even had Antifa last week, I think it was, say that they're going to sort us all out, right? And I laughed at them and I said, bring it on. We'll have you done within, listen, it won't be even a fight. Within 2 hours, we'll have Antifa run out of this country, right? And if you're not run out of the country, you're getting locked up anyway, because as far as I'm concerned, you are a bunch of terrorists. And there's no place in this country no more for terrorism. Just want to make that clear. There's not. So don't bring it, don't bring it on. Don't bring it on, because it'll be embarrassing for you. Because all we have to do is just bring bars of soap and wash it and shampoo, you know, and the public order unit could do the rest then to rinse us all off. Do you know what I mean? With their water cannons. But it'd be over. It'd be game over. So, you know, if you just want to bring it on actually, because you know what? We stop Antifa, right? And then we stop the left. Simple as that. I know, Lady Avera, that's the funny fucking thing. Because when half of these people are questioned on their opinions, you always notice that some old biddy or some fellow will go over, don't answer that question. No, he's speaking logic. Shh, don't listen to him. You know, we see it all the time with them. They're fucking gas. They're gas. They don't even know what the fucking pro. You're absolutely right, man. That's the thing. That's the stupidity of the left. But you know what makes me angry is that every country in Europe got beaten by a halfwit. We got beaten by halfwits. Like, we're Albert Einstein compared to these folks, right? Listen, I went through my whole education. Did I have a top tier education? No, it was a public education, but it was still a good education, right? And I went to college, right? I did what I had to do and I became a chef, blah, 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 blah. Right? But am I the most intelligent person in the world? No, but I do, I do reckon I'm smart and I can figure things out. But compared to these fuckers, I'm fucking Albert Einstein. Do you remember, there was a movie years ago, wasn't there, where I don't know what the name of the movie was, but there was he was a hippie sort of fella, a stoner, right? And something happens to him, and he ends up in a world where everybody's stupid, and he ends up being the smartest man on the fucking planet, right? That's the situation we're in, right? These people are so fucking stupid that even people with a decent level of intelligence are Albert Einstein compared to these motherfuckers. That's what we're dealing with. We were actually beaten by halfwits. And this is why we'll win in the end. Because trust me, I mean, the whole thing, listen, you've all seen it in the, right? I haven't watched the Olympics because unlike other people, I'm not going around and saying I'm boycotting the Olympics and then everybody watches the Olympics, commenting on it. They're commenting on it every 5 fucking seconds. Like, so obviously you're watching it, right? But I have seen the clip of the Italian lady, the boxing stuff. Listen, this whole topic of conversation now is in the public realm, right? Because of what that Italian boxer did, right? What's happening is wrong. But the left, they're starting to lose the narrative even with that now because of the Olympics, right? So things are changing. The tide is turning. It's just for some of us, it's not turning fucking fast enough. But it's still turning. And that's the movie there, yeah. That's the movie, yeah. I'm not going to even try say that because when it comes to fucking saying long words, I'm absolutely fucking awful. Well, I have seen that Ireland is doing well in the Olympics, and even though I haven't watched it, and I wish it wasn't the Paris Olympics, to be quite honest, that the Irish athletes are doing well in. But it is nice to see that our Irish athletes are actually making this. It's a pity it is the French Olympics because we are proud of these people. I'm not going to lie. I am proud of them, but I just can't watch because, I boycotted the Olympics years ago anyway. Everybody gives out about the open ceremony. Listen, I want to tell you that the Olympics have been slowly going woke over the last fucking 12 years. So I boycotted the Olympics a long time ago. I haven't watched the Olympics in fucking, as I said, nearly fucking 8 years. Maybe 12. Could be that long. I don't watch them anymore. And anyway, the Olympics are always controversial anyway. There's always some fucking cheat and there's always some scandal anyway. So the Olympics are not, you know what I mean? I just don't bother with them. But it is nice to see that Irish athletes are making this country, proud. And they are look, Irish athletes will always punch above their weight, right? We're a small country. And for us to win as many medals as we've won, we should be proud of that. It's just a pity that it's in this Olympics because absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. Anyway, I will be back with Get It Off Your Chest at 7. We'll do a short one tonight because we went 4 hours on the last one. So we'll probably go for about an hour. So that's why, as I said, I'm going to put the link up shortly and put the StreamYard link up. And if you want to come on, you are more than welcome to come on. And as I said on this channel, no matter what has happened. You know, if we've had the arguments or whatever, it's a clean slate as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? So anybody, everybody is welcome, as I said. So if there's something you want to get off your chest, join me from 7 p.m. tonight. And I just want to thank everybody out there for getting me to 8,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate all the support that you've given this channel, and to all the other YouTubers in my chat as well. Thank you guys for the support as well. I really do appreciate it. It does mean a lot. I'm not going to lie. It really does. And as I said, like all the other channels out there, we'll try to keep you as very much informed as much as we can. But, you know, as I said, just please, as I said, try get to that Garda HQ protest, guys. We get all the numbers, then we can make... Listen, we need to send these guys... Look, this is just about sending them a message, right? And the fact that Drew Harris, Helen McAtee were in Coolock indicates to me that they're planning something. And then Roderick O'Gorman comes out a couple of days later and says that Coolock is still going ahead despite all the protests. Then you have all of the politicians on radio and in front of the camera saying that communities don't have a veto in their own community who comes into their community. So yes, there is something on the way, something... It's either going to be Coolock or the other area that was mentioned, or it could be one of the others as a distraction. But this government has proven that they're not stopping, and they're going to continue what they're doing. So now they've basically handed the challenge back over to us, the Irish people. So now I will say to the nationalist leaders once again, a few weeks back, he's made an announcement of an alliance. You said that you were going to give us details in the next couple of weeks. We're still waiting on those details. What is the plan moving forward? Is there a plan moving forward? And if not, is that the reason why actually the grassroots movements have decided to take it upon themselves to start organising stuff? And by the way, I'm absolutely delighted that that's what's happened, because that's what's needed to happen, right? The bottom line is that the big voices in this are going to be busy because they've been elected, right? So it was up to the communities to take back the grassroots movements and to protect them and to secure them, because we already know that there are a few people out there that have been trying to derail these grassroots movements, and it cannot be allowed to happen. So fair play to the lads in Coolock who have, you know, made sure that everything down there in Coolock is being done properly, and the lads are doing a great job down there. And, you know, forget about all, don't mind Ted, forget about all the smoke and mirrors of all of the other nonsense that's out there. Remember, folks, as I've always said from the very beginning, there are internal and external forces working against grassroots movements across this country. And it's up to those grassroots movements to weed out the people that they believe that are causing harm to those movements. And that's it. End of story. The bottom line is they've got to secure their own patch. And then when they ask for us to give them a helping hand, that's what we're here for. But I'm delighted it's being done that way, because that's the way it needed to be done in the very first place. So Ted will get it off his fucking chest. Yeah, Paddy. So anyway, lads and ladies, and anybody else who's listening, thank you very much for tuning in. I will talk to you later on tonight at 7. And as I said, yeah, come and join me. If there's anything you want to get off your chest, remember, you're more than welcome to come on. So I will leave it there for now, folks. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you very soon.